Hi, I'm astrologer Penny Dix and welcome to an Astrobite. But this Astrobite I'm calling an Astrological Witter because I'm going to witter on astrologically about the beginning of September because I have decided, and this is probably to do with the full moon lunar eclipse on the 7th of September, that in Pisces, that it is time I brought in a little bit of a change to the way I do things. So I'm going to endeavour to do my month ahead on Monday. My week ahead will not be this week because I'm doing the month ahead on Monday, but the week ahead will be a said and set time on a Sunday where we will get the astrological witterings for the week ahead midweek on a Wednesday. So you'll get used to me having the live on a Monday and a recorded video on a Wednesday will be the astrological Astrobite Witter session. And that'll just collate what we need to know for the rest of the week leading up to the live the following Sunday. At least I just thought September, lunar eclipse, time to do something new, time to let go of the old and bring in the new. And maybe you all want to do something like that because to start with my wittering for today, I'm looking at the retrograde motion of our planet Saturn. Now, Saturn, as you know, is our planet of restriction, of timing, of containment, of boundaries. And Saturn has been retrograde since, I think it's sometime in July, and on the 1st of September, it will move back into Pisces. This is significant, and this is going to bring the beginning of a shift in energies that have felt quite limited and stuck in the sign of Aries for quite a while. Now, Neptune will stay in Aries for a while before it moves back into Pisces a little bit later on, but we'll come to that another time. Now, when Saturn moves back into Pisces, it'll still be part with Neptune of an out of sign conjunction. So we've got these energies of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction ongoing till really mid next year. They are going to bring political, emotional, psychological, boundary change. There are just, it's like, it's inevitable that this mini grand trine which we're going to have ongoing for quite a long time. This mini grand trine is really going to bring in a lot of very different energy and circumstances. I'm sure some of us will be pleased about that. We can't forget the other parts of this mini grand trine because it's Uranus in Gemini, soon to go retrograde, but I'll talk about that on my Wednesday Witter. And it is trining Pluto in Aquarius. Now, they're both in air signs. This is significant because both air signs bring us into the realm of overthinking things and getting a little bit carried away with our thoughts and thought processes. It's also, of course, technology. And I think because it's a trine, it's just reminding us in general that we need to really up our game with all our technological understanding and the way things are going, because by next year, when Uranus is fully in Gemini, Pluto is charging ahead in Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn back in Pisces, then moving into Aries, we're going to really have to up our game. there is no way significant change will not take place for all of us on some level over the next 6 months, let's say. That is what I sense. Now, what else can we glean about the Saturn retrograde into Pisces? So it goes into Pisces on the 1st, and it doesn't go direct again in Pisces till November the 27th-ish. And it will go back as far as 25 degrees Pisces. Now, if you are someone with a sun or a moon, let's just keep it to those. Well, actually, also let's bring sun, moon, IC, or ascendant and descendant between 29 and 25 degrees of Pisces. This is going to affect you. However, don't fear it. This is great because it's going to go back. You're going to experience this twice. It's going to move back over your particular point in your chart, and it will bring you a sharp reminder of that which you have not set in place yet, that which needs to be put in place and given some structure. It's reminding you that yes, things take time, but time is running out and you need to get it done and done now. Now, when it goes direct, and as I said, that will be on 27th of November, it will then move back over those natal suns, moons, ICs, MCs, descendants, and ascendants. Move back over those points. That is really significant because if you've done the work, that's when Saturn will give you the gift of Saturn. Clarity will come. You will go, now I see what this has all been about. Now I understand why this has taken so long. Now I see why it couldn't happen before now. At least in principle. That's what I feel. So how will it affect what's going on the planet? Because we'll have to look back and think back to what was happening when Saturn was at these degrees before. And I'll probably look more deeply at that another time because I think it's enough to take in that it's just moving back into Pisces, a sign where it's not particularly comfortable. And, you know, when it does station direct in November 2025, it'll be back in Aries round about the 13th, 14th of February. It'll have its full exact on conjunction with Neptune. I think it's the 20th of February, 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that. And it will stay in Aries until the 12th of April, 2028. So we have plenty of time to utilize that energy. So, thinking about this, let's just have a think about the highlights. With Saturn in Aries, it's been giving us a chance to look at the fiery energy of Aries. We may have found with certain plans we wish to initiate that haven't yet taken root or taken seed, that we have got impatient and frustrated. It may have literally sent our blood pressure up because we get frustrated and angry. Saturn is slowing us down in the fiery sign of Aries, asking us to be disciplined with our routine, asking us to be disciplined with how we manage our angst and anger. So when it moves back into Pisces, into this watery spiritual realm, it'll take our focus from outside of ourselves much more into our inner self, our inner world, our psyche, our soul. To look at how we navigate emotional and look at karmic backgrounds, look at, it's thinking about how this will overlap with the eclipse season that we have in September and October 2025. Saturn in Pisces will, I think, help us manage to put some structure and grounding to some of the ideas that we've had while Saturn went through Pisces, that we weren't able to somehow pin down. They went all over the place. I think we will find the ability as Saturn moves through these late degrees of Pisces to somehow anchor down these dreams and put some structure into them. And Neptune, I think, when it moves back into Pisces, will reignite the dream and the hope and the excitement of, oh, wow, this can happen. It's going to happen. It is happening. Because what we have to do when we want to bring new things into our lives is we have to be on the same frequency as that which we want to manifest. So we have to feel that feeling of, my God, it's happening. It's now. If we can attain that frequency, sometimes what helps is to think ourselves back to a time when something happened that gave us that, wow, it's happened. This thing I never thought could happen has happened. So that we embody and feel that feeling and then transmute it, translate it into where we want to be now. So I think this energy is going to help us ground that feeling, let that frequency, which I think Neptune will help with when it moves back into Pisces, to look at the lessons we've learned before and really manage to actually just get in that flow and feel, okay, we're moving now. I have to go at Saturn's speed. It's only till next February. February is going to go back into Aries, and then we're really going to see the shifts happening. We're going to see our ambitions with deeper structure. We'll have more wisdom about how to initiate them. We'll have learned the lessons that we had to learn while Saturn was first in Aries and then took us back into Pisces. And it'll help us refine how we take that movement forward. So what else can we glean in this little Astro Witter to the beginning of September? Because on the 2nd of September, Mercury, our planet of communication, enters Virgo. Now, Mercury rules Virgo along with Gemini. Mercury is extremely comfortable in Virgo. And Mercury is dignified, as they say, or exalted in Virgo, which is very, very comfortable for Mercury in Virgo. Now, we're going to have it here for a little while. And Mercury, we must remember or remind ourselves, is about our mind, communication, analyzing, especially in Virgo, learning stuff, how we perceive things with our mind, with our cognitions. And of course, Virgo, as you know, detail, discernment, refinement, practicality, keeping things in order, which fits in with Saturn's slip back into Pisces. So Mercury moves back the day after. which is quite interesting. So it'll make it much easier for us to get our lives in order. I think it's interesting that it's coming in September when, we go back to school, so to speak, in most parts of the world, and where people, in a sense, think of September as being a new start. Here we go, it's September, summer's behind us. Now we start getting down to the serious business of what we need to achieve between now and the autumn equinox on September 21st, 22nd, before we then move towards the new year. So an interesting time. So we can, in Virgo, Mercury will help us be a little bit more adaptable, because of course Virgo is adaptable, it's flexible, but Mercury will give us clarity of thought. We'll be able to read complicated forms and think, oh, I actually get this. I think I actually understand this. And even maybe listening to my witterings, you will actually somehow finally find it and understand it. And we'll communicate more practically. And we will be more mindful of how others receive our communications, so that we make sure that we are understood. We won't be talking to hear what we've said and await the reply, or think of our next response. We'll actually listen. I think with Mercury in Virgo, we will actually listen. Are there any challenges or pitfalls with Mercury in Virgo? Perfectionism, over-analysis, thereby overthinking. So we can get stuck on focusing on what's wrong. That will not be helpful, not whilst Saturn is in Pisces. So be aware of that and get yourself out of it. We can get a little bit apprehensive and anxious and maybe talk too quickly, make decisions too rapidly, so we can get nitpicky, frustrated. Slow down. Slow down. Because remember, Mercury's in Virgo, and where's Saturn? Saturn's in Pisces. So opposite. So Saturn is sending out his energy through the sign of Pisces, saying, let's take it slow. Let's take it slow. And I think also the other problem with Mercury in Virgo is that we might not always be able to see the bigger picture, so that when things are not going as quickly or falling into place in the way we want, we are getting caught in the detail and frustrated and going over, instead of thinking, okay, it's about timing. It's all about timing. Why don't I just sit back and relax? But of course, Mercury does like Virgo, so it's going to be very happy here. So Mercury in Virgo is going to help us all, especially if you are going back to school, or your teacher's going back to school, or you're starting new work, or you're starting a new project. This is really going to help. I, for one, will be very glad when Mercury moves into Virgo, because my ability to somehow correlate my thoughts and get some energy into what I want to do has been basically non-existent. Let me know how you are, because Mercury in Leo shouldn't necessarily mean that, but I've just been unable to almost to speak. So let me know how you are. Now, as usual, because I do like doing this, giving you some quotes, we are going to look at a set of quotes that highlight, now thinking of Saturn slowing down, the benefits of slowing down, pausing, and reflecting. Because the retrograde planets that we have are asking us very much to reflect. We're being given a second chance to look at perhaps where we've rushed ahead, made some decisions that perhaps were not thought through. We can go back and sort them out, get them into some sort of order. So here is where we can start blending wisdom from philosophy and spirituality into everyday insight. So first of all, I've got 3 quotes on the power of stillness. Now, Anne Lamott said, and you'll know this one so well, and I kept it in because I thought sometimes we just need to be reminded. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. It's true. The Dalai Lama said, silence is sometimes the best answer. Ain't that the truth? Ram Dass said, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. And that's also a truth. And then on reflection and clarity, we've got 3. One is by John Dewey, which is, we do not learn from experience per se, we learn from reflecting on experience. Yeah, it is really with the hindsight, isn't it, when we look back, when we talk it through with a trusted friend, that we see how we could have perhaps done something differently or where we did fall into pitfalls. And that Mercury in Virgo warns us against getting too ahead of ourselves, to slow down with Saturn in Pisces and just take some time. There's an unknown quote here which, is in the middle of our hurried lives. Reflection is what transforms activity into insight. Oh, that's quite beautiful. And now this next one I think is really important, because I'm thinking to myself, it's another unknown one. I think I've actually been saying this to myself the last few days, not this exact quote, but the essence of it, which is, sometimes you have to pause to see where you are going. Now, the next 3 quotes are on slowing down as wisdom. Lao Tzu said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And that's true. And you know, it's a truth that probably what you're worrying about today, you probably won't be worrying about in a year's time. It might have been replaced by something else, but it probably won't be what you're worrying about today. John de Paula said, slow down and everything you are chasing will come around and catch you. And that really is the power of letting go, isn't it? Slow down, stop chasing, stop trying to get, stop trying to make happen. When we stop making or trying to make things happen and allow them to come when they're meant to, well, it does make the job of the universe a lot easier. William Shakespeare, the bard, said, wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. Well, great truth. Now, finally, we have 3 quotes which are about renewal and inner balance. Do Xantamata, oh gosh, what's this name? Do Xantamata, if you're listening, Doe, hope I said your name right. Taking time to do nothing often brings everything into perspective. Now that is a great truth. Eleanor Brown said, rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. This is all about Saturn. Saturn, slow down. And spirit, Pisces. That's what we can do with Saturn in Pisces. We can renew our soul. Finally, Carolyn Miss said, your soul always knows what to do to heal itself. The challenge is to silence the mind. So be wary of that with that Mercury in Virgo, because it's good, but it could be tricky. So don't get too carried away. Just remind yourself about Saturn in Pisces. Slow down, look at the view, sense, hear, listen to the music, listen to your soul, and just listen. On that note, thank you so much for joining me for this slightly different Astrobite Astro Witter. I'll get used to it. So will you, I hope. Let me know if you like the idea of me doing some Astro Wittering once a week on a Wednesday. And I will do one next Wednesday. And I do hope you like them. I'm hoping it'll inject some new energy into the channel. So on that note, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I really look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye for now. Bye.